for this close friendship doesn't just have to do with our shared history, our shared heritage, our ties of language and culture, or even the strong partnership between our governments. Our relationship is special because of the values and beliefs that have united our people through the ages. Centuries ago, when kings, emperors, and warlords reigned over much of the world, it was the English who first spelled out the rights and liberties of man in the Magna Carta.
Magna Carta. And that's what we've all called it since. This Magna Carta was entered into the statute rolls as English law, which meant that if a king wanted to change it, he had to get it approved by Parliament.
What's the big deal about Magna Carta anyway?
Well, in England, Magna Carta was the first step towards building a fair society where everyone has equal rights and nobody is more powerful than the law. This is the root of our legal system and government. Magna Carta and the English legal system became a model for other countries, including the USA.
Thank you, Magna Carta.
Australia.
Thanks a lot, Magna Carta.
New Zealand.
Cheers, Magna Carta.
Canada.
Thanks, Magna Carta.
And India,
Thanks, Magna Carta.
to name just a few. In fact, if our calculations are correct, 1/4 of the people in the world live in a country where the system of government was inspired by Magna Carta. And Magna Carta has inspired the idea that all humans everywhere deserve equal rights and freedom.
It was here, in this very hall, where the rule of law first developed, courts were established, disputes were settled, and citizens came to petition their leaders. Over time, the people of this nation waged a long and sometimes bloody struggle to expand and secure their freedom from the crown. And propelled by the ideals of the Enlightenment, they would ultimately forge an English Bill of Rights and invest the power to govern in an elected parliament that's gathered here today. What began on this island would inspire millions throughout the continent of Europe and across the world. But perhaps no one drew greater inspiration from these notions of freedom than your rabble-rousing colonists on the other side of the Atlantic.
When our Constitution was formed in the 1700s, there was no clear understanding of what the framers were going to come up with when they started writing our Constitution, with one exception. They were absolutely clear in their minds that we wanted to provide for trial by jury. That was a given.
The framers of our Constitution felt so strongly about trial by jury that they put it in the Constitution. They put it in the Bill of Rights. It applies to criminal trials, to all criminal trials. It applies to many civil trials. They regarded it as one of the most important safeguards of democracy. I think to their minds it was as important as the right to vote. Jurors really are experts, more than we judges are, on the thing that we ask juries to do, and that is to make findings of fact.
As Winston Churchill said, the Magna Carta, the Bill of Rights, habeas corpus, trial by jury, and English common law find their most famous expression in the American Declaration of Independence. For both of our nations, living up to the ideals enshrined in these founding documents has sometimes been difficult, has always been a work in progress. The path has never been perfect. But through the struggles of slaves and immigrants, women and ethnic minorities, former colonies and persecuted religions. We have learned better than most that the longing for freedom and human dignity is not English or American or Western. It is universal, and it beats in every heart.
And Magna Carta has inspired the idea that all humans everywhere deserve equal rights and freedom. After the Second World War, the United Nations decided to do something to protect the rights of everyone on the planet. Eleanor Roosevelt and her team wrote the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was approved in December 1948. She described it as
a Magna Carta for all mankind.
After that, countries around the world made their own laws to protect human rights.
Perhaps that's why there are few nations that stand firmer, speak louder, and fight harder to defend democratic values around the world than the United States and the United Kingdom. We are the allies who landed at Omaha and Gold, who sacrificed side by side to free a continent from the march of tyranny and help prosperity flourish from the ruins of war.
Is that where the story ends?
Not by a long shot. Magna Carta was only the first stepping stone on our journey to a fair and just society. Over the past 8 centuries, all sorts of people all over the world have been inspired by Magna Carta to live lives, and make laws, and build countries that celebrate the idea that everyone is equal under the law. It's a remarkable legacy that's been passed on to us. We are all responsible for making our society fairer and more just. We are all responsible for protecting human rights. And now that you know the story of Magna Carta, it's your responsibility too.
Mga kaitsapwera, mga kapwa ko soberanong mamayang Pilipino. Ako po si Mr. Juror Sixto Kikilatis Lagari. Samahan po ninyo ako sa hashtag Bayanihan for People Empowerment sa pamamagitan ng Juror Revolution 2022. Kapag sinamahan ninyo ako, kayo po ay mabibiyayaan ng ligtas at maunlad na buhay. Tama po inyong narinig, gagawin ko kayong mga milyonaryo.